Imagine waking up in 2026 and realizing that cash quietly lost more of its power. Markets are more fragile than the headlines admit, and the people who slept best are the ones who prepared early. The question isn't to whether gold and silver still matter, because how much is actually enough when uncertainty is no longer a theory but a reality? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have a clear, practical framework you can actually use. Not hype, not fear, just clarity. For thousands of years, gold and silver have survived every currency experiment, every empire, every financial reset. They are not investments in the traditional sense, they are insurance. And like any insurance, the goal isn't to get rich overnight. It's to make sure you're not wiped out when the unexpected hits. As we move toward 2026, the world is facing record debt, rising geopolitical tension, de-dollarization efforts, and increasing pressure on central banks. That combination changes how we should think about precious metals, not as a trade, but as a foundation. Now here's where most people get it wrong. They ask, how much gold and silver should I buy? Without first asking, what am I trying to protect? Are you protecting purchasing power, financial independence, emergency liquidity, or a long-term store of value for your family? The amount that's enough depends entirely on that answer. There is no one-size-fits-all number, but there is a smart range. A common rule used by conservative wealth planners is allocating 10% to 20% of total net worth into precious metals. For someone just starting out, even 5% is better than zero. If you have $50,000 in total savings and assets, that would mean $2,500 to $10,000 in gold and silver combined. This isn't extreme, it's balanced. It keeps you protected without overexposing you. Gold and silver, however, do very different jobs. Gold is about wealth preservation. It's compact, high value, and historically moves to safety when confidence in systems breaks down. Silver is about utility and upside. It's more volatile, more affordable, and heavily used in industry, energy, and technology. That's why for 2026, many seasoned holders lean heavier towards silver by weight, but gold by value. Let's make this practical. For gold, a strong baseline for most individuals is between 1 and 5 ounces per adult. 1 ounce already puts you ahead of the majority of the global population. 5 ounces moves you into serious long-term protection territory. You don't need a vault full of bars. A few well-chosen coins or small bars can represent years of preserved purchasing power. Silver is different. Because it's cheaper and more useful for everyday transactions in a crisis scenario, the numbers are higher. A common preparedness range is 100 to 500 ounces of silver. 100 ounces covers basic flexibility. 200 to 300 ounces gives you confidence. 500 ounces starts to look like real optionality if supply chains break or currencies devalue sharply. Now let AUS address the fear question everyone is thinking, but few say out loud. What if things get really bad? If inflation accelerates, banks restrict withdrawals, or trust in digital systems weakens, physical metals outside the system matter. In that scenario, silver shines because it's divisible. You're not going to trade a loaf of bread for a 1 ounce gold coin. Silver fills that gap. At the same time, gold is your anchor. It's what you don't touch unless you absolutely have to. It's the asset you pass down, the one that historically resets purchasing power after monetary chaos. Countries hold gold for a reason. Central banks are buying gold at record levels for a reason. They see what's coming and they're positioning accordingly. Another mistake people make is waiting for the perfect price. The truth is, the perfect price is only obvious in hindsight. What matters more is consistency. Accumulating slowly over time reduces regret and emotional decision-making. If prices dip, you add. If prices rise, you already own. That mindset removes stress. Storage also matters. Physical metals should be accessible but discreet. Some people prefer home safes, others use private vaults, and some diversify locations. What matters is control. If you don't control it, you don't truly own it. Paper promises are not the same as metal in hand. Now let's be very clear. Precious metals are not a replacement for skills, income, or smart planning. They are a stabilizer. They sit quietly while the world argues, while markets swing, while narratives change, and when confidence cracks, they don't need trust. They just are. As we head toward 2026, the real risk isn't owning too much gold or silver. The real risk is owning none and assuming the system will always work exactly as it has. History never rewards that assumption. The people who prepare early don't panic later. So how much is actually enough? Enough is when you can look at your metals and say, no matter what happens, I'm not starting from zero. Enough is when inflation doesn't steal your sleep. Enough is when uncertainty feels manageable, not terrifying. You don't need to rush. You don't need to go all in. You just need to start, stay consistent, and think long term. Gold for stability, silver for flexibility. Together, they form a shield, not against opportunity, but against loss. If 2026 turns out calm, you lose nothing. If it doesn't, you gain something far more valuable than profit: control. And in times like these, control is everything.